But the thing about shade is that it always runs out of energy. Throwing light takes a little bit more effort. Throwing light means you're being positive, you're being uplifting, you are motivating, you're empowering. It takes a lot more effort and much more is required. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Ignite the World podcast. This is episode number 27, Throwing Shade or Throwing Light. I am your host, Jamie Dottie Garza, and today I want to talk about throwing shade. I'm sure if you're a millennial like myself or Gen Z, you know what that term means. Even Gen X. I'm sure you've heard that term. When I think about throwing shade, I think about that E40 line when he was like, throwing shade, I might need some sunglasses. I think that was it on a Big Sean verse. But throwing shade is AKA talking some trash. And one thing about it, whether we see it depicted on television, TVs, if you're watching TVs or YouTube, social media especially, you'll see someone post something and throw some shade on it. You might screenshot it, put it in a group chat if that's your thing, and you might have fun with it and talk some trash or throw some shade. Or you might be bold and throw shade in the comments. I can't call it. But I'm here to say I was one, too, of them people. I used to throw a lot of shade here and there, especially in my 20s. And now that I'm growing up in my 30s, and I do less of it because I see more. And one thing I'll say is one thing takes more effort than the other. Can you guess what that might be? It's so easy to throw shade at something. You might dislike something. You might see someone's opinion and automatically be like, oh, that's cap or that's not true. And you might throw shade at that. On the other hand, on the other side, one takes more effort to throw light. Throw light on a situation. Pray for that person. See the good and intents of what they might want to do, as opposed to throwing a stone, casting a stone, or judging them, or however you throw the shade. And right now, this message was inspired by Seth Godin. I was on his blog, and if you don't know Seth Godin is a prolific author, marketing genius. One of my favorite books from him is This Is Marketing by Seth Godin. I've learned a lot on his entrepreneur journey and owning my business and having empathy. He preaches a lot about empathy in his marketing and conducting his business. So if you're an entrepreneur out there, a business owner, I would strongly recommend checking out Seth Godin. And on his blog post, he was talking about this, and this is what I want to talk about on the podcast. See, the thing about throwing shade, it may be more fun, more easy, get a little bit more laughs. But the thing about shade is that it always runs out of energy. When you think about throwing light, being a light to somebody, and that's someone I inspire to be to everybody I encounter, but throwing light takes a little bit more effort. You know, throwing light means you're being positive, you're being uplifting, you're praising, you're praying for somebody, you are motivating, you're empowering. It takes a lot more effort and much more is required. See, the thing about shade, it's meant to end conversations and not ignite them. See, when you're a light, you can ignite conversations. You can learn more about a story. You can kind of piece together the puzzle of what that person may be talking about or why that conversation started or that idea that they posted or whatever they did. See, when you're throwing shade, oftentimes it comes off as intimidating. It's not encouraging. It's not positive. And you may wonder why some people always feel like they can't catch a break, or they're always in the same circumstance, or they can't get out of a rut, or they're still in the same spot they were 10 years ago. And I'm truly a firm believer that positivity attracts more positive. And that includes your thoughts and what we convey out our mouths. If you're someone who's toxic and you're always throwing shade or you're being negative, that's what you will forever attract. Light attracts light. Once you're in darkness and you're throwing the shade, I said this in the earlier podcast, the light will always try to come through, shine through. Be of the light. In a world that's so much easier, we already have enough negativity as is. This is a positive message for anyone out there. To be the positive, to throw some light out there. You see a post on Facebook and people are throwing shade, pick something out that might be positive for it. Or send some prayers. I know I've become that person recently. I used to be the one person, I screenshot something, send it to my wife, and I'm going to throw some shade real quick. I grew up in the era at the lunch table where if you can't come back with some jokes on that bus or that lunch table, you're going to be looked at and perceived as weak. So my favorite wrestler was The Rock because of his trash talking skills. So I'm giving you guys context of the type of person I'm always down to talk some trash. But recently, in these past few months and year, I should say, I don't look at anything like that. I'm always looking to throw some positivity. I understand at the end of the day, we're all on our path to growth. And as humans, we want two things. We want to be successful and we want to be at peace. And we want the best possible for ourselves and our family. That's it, everybody out there. So when we throw some light, just have some grace with others. We are all different steps of our journey. We are all different steps of age, and we are all trying to figure this out. So I challenge you guys out there to throw more light. Throw the light. Throw shade less and throw the light. That's all I have for you guys today. You guys continue to be blessed by the best. And remember, we are all like sticks of dynamite. The power's on the inside, but nothing happens until the fuse gets lit. Ignite the world.